Here's one of the caps that's been cleaned and disassembled. This one has an original center paint. It's a matte black finish. Here's another cap that I've washed and waxed and polished. It has the original center. And if you notice, at about the 3 o'clock position, the paint went light. That's a factory finish. These things were not Cartier type quality. They were get the job done, get it out the door, it's good enough. It's a hubcap, for Christ's sakes. You can also see now what a factory style edge finish would be. Not perfect. And I can tell you that painting these is quite difficult, because when you spray paint down into this cavity, it wants to bounce back, and you have to go with light coats. Today we're going to remove the paint off the centers of these two hubcaps. A previous owner has painted them and didn't do a very good job. So the first step will be to remove the paint. I'm going to use a chemical stripper. Follow the instructions on the can of your paint stripper. This stuff is generally pretty nasty stuff to deal with. You want to use a well-ventilated area and rubber gloves and a little bit of caution. You can see that the paint stripper is already starting to lift the paint. It's only been a few minutes, and another application with the paintbrush that I use for applying the material. And I'm loosening the paint very quickly. For those pieces of paint that want to remain stuck, I take a little piece of fine steel wool, rubber gloves, and that generally removes the stubborn paint. Here's what you have after removal of the paint stripper. I wash it with soap and water to be sure I've removed all the paint stripper. And then I wash it again with soap and water because I don't want any paint stripper kicking around. From this point, things proceed at a slower pace, because now we're going to have to get it clean. I'm going to apply the alcohol, and then I'm going with a painting prep. If you don't get this surface clean, you're going to have problems getting the paint to stick. I've applied the painting preparation, followed the instructions, and wiped it with a white cloth until there is no dirt on the white cloth. Now we're ready for masking. I found that this plastic vinyl tape works much better for getting into these corner areas, because masking tape will wrinkle, and this stuff has got the elasticity to work itself around. Then I'll add layers of masking tape up to give me the barrier that I want. This takes a little patience. I have the first layer of blue plastic tape applied. It's giving me a nice crisp edge all the way around. Remember, you don't have to be perfect because the factory wasn't perfect. We're not going to do anything about the center here because it's covered by the cone. What gets painted is fine, and what doesn't, we don't care. Follow with a layer of masking tape to complete the inside, and then add newspaper or similar to block the outside. Here's our hubcap drying. I painted it in the vertical position, holding it with one hand, spraying with the other, which of course leaves no hands for the camera. We'll give it a little time to dry and then remove the masking. I've removed some of the masking. At this point I can tell I don't have a problem with fish eyes, and it's just a matter of removing the rest of the masking to see how good the finish is. Here we have the masking removed, and it's a nice, crisp, sharp edge. I'm not sure how much glare this camera's going to pick up, but there you have a painted hubcap. And here's our second hubcap completed. No fish eyes, nice crisp line, pretty good. I used Eastwood Underhood Flat Black on this one, and the previous one I used the regular Underhood Black. Can't really tell the difference. Now for reassembly, and we call this one a day. Now and then you'll find a wheel cover that has the wheel cover assembly part number stamped on it. That is the 535, and by that they mean the wheel cover with the hub and the medallion and the whole shooting match. This part number 536 is just for the disc. Not very often will you find a wheel cover that has both the assembly part number and the disc part number stamped on it.